Hello everyone, Drew Wilson of Your Ear Gamer here. Today I'll be traveling to the year of 2017. This is when the PlayStation 4 game Gran Turismo Sport was released. This game was released after Gran Turismo 6. So, I've got 10 minutes on the clock. Let's give this game a try. And for those of you who are wondering, I did get a chance to play Gran Turismo 6. And apart from issues installing the game, as well as the long loading screens, well, it was actually a pretty decent game after all that, so not a bad game at all. So, finally made it to Gran Turismo Sport, and I'd say that the screens are at least improving that I can tell. I mean, it's fairly straightforward. There's the arcade race, there's the campaign, and you might already notice that I'm already at level 7, and that is because I decided to just go ahead and take care of the driving school bit. It's not really much to look at, the driving school, but you get through it, and I'm presuming, like other games, you unlock certain things doing that. So I went ahead and did all of that anyway, and just to show you what I did, I basically went through intermediate and beginner, got the car unlocks as well in the process, got the experience points, and so one less thing to kind of worry about moving forward. So I am going to just go ahead and go into GT League, and I'm not sure why Amateur, Professional, Endurance League, they're all locked still, but I'm assuming it's an experience point issue, or maybe I have to beat certain races or enough races or whatever. But we're going to go ahead and go into the Beginner League anyway. That's where I was planning on going in the first place. And I couldn't help but notice that we are kind of back into some of the earlier styles of the menu screen, and it was basically, I think it was Gran Turismo 2, I think it was. It sort of had this, where you had like the grid of 6, the 3x2 grid of 6 stuff, and you could go into different kinds of leagues and check out things out. And I can definitely see that here, for sure. But we're going to go into the Sunday Cup. And whatever happens to be the first race. So I guess maximum power is 374 horsepower for a car. And we're going to go ahead and 374. I guess that's not too unreasonable. We're going to go with the default car just to see how it goes. I know I've got a few other cars that probably could totally stomp this, but I know Sunday Cup is generally meant to be like sort of the beginner thing. And I know in previous games, like if you just had like the default beginner car without any modifications, your car struggles to keep up. You can earn credits, but it's only to just kind of do upgrades. So I wonder if there's information. So yeah, they're definitely much lower this time around. I'm not seeing anything significantly above 300. There's a 340. That might be my car. No, it's not. Definitely not my car. Okay, so might be a little bit different this time around, where you actually have a definite shot at winning. We'll find out. So I can see that we're on a rolling start for the very first race. And we're on an oval track. And I know some people might find these kind of races, well, boring. But the thing to remember is that some players, they're not even doing the driving school thing. They want to get into the action. Oof. And they want to just drive right away. So I'm a big fan of races at the beginning of the game that allows players to ease into this kind of racing game, which is sim racing. So you're not just, oh, it's left to turn left and right to turn right. It's a little bit more nuanced than that. So if you hit corners too hard, you spin out, that sort of thing. You go off course. And so you have to think about like how fast you're going, the position of your car. So outside the track, inside the track. And then for a good exit speed, you go on the outside again. And that's the kind of thing you have to think about. Obviously, different turns have different like requirements, and sometimes you have to slow down much more. This is obviously a very relaxed race. Well, we're in third, going into the second to last lap, so got that going for me, which is nice. One thing I remember missing about, because I was following the series somewhat closely, and just playing one game at a time. One of the earliest games, I think it was actually the first Gran Turismo game, that allowed you to do a trial one-lap race to determine your position. And in later games, it kind of dropped that. So we got second place. That's not bad. I mean, default car, that sort of thing. Yeah, half a second behind. Considering we were at the very back, this is a start at the back kind of deal. So one thing I noticed is we have credits, we have mileage points, and experience points. I'm not really sure about mileage points, how much that means, what that means for anything. I know there is levels, and I have a feeling that has to do with something like maybe unlocking stuff. But that's about it. Alright, so I think we're going to exit this race. So I'm going to try and keep in mind 374 horsepower. I'm going to see if I can find an ability to tune up your car. And see if I can find it, because I totally didn't think of that when I first recorded. Alright, level increase. So we're unlocking races at the very least. Purchase your cars here. Also pick up vital information about brands. Okay. Scraps. Home, my library. Livery, I guess it is. I'm not really seeing it, actually. Go to the showroom, I guess. Maybe that'll allow me to go there. No, it's just showing me this. No, I want to upgrade the car. Okay, so not as intuitive as I was hoping. Because I was thinking I could just go to the car here and press that, but that's not happening. And Brand Central, well, I love the world. Our cars, learn more about them. I don't think that's what I'm after, but it does allow you to browse. So let's go ahead and go through this anyway. One of the things that kind of I'm not really sure about is the way that the games kind of display some of these things. Like, if I didn't know about like different brands, I'm just randomly selecting things. In Ford, and there's only one car here. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. I'm in favor of like at least having this sort of menu, but also having a easy to read menu. So if I want a car that has a certain horsepower, that sort of thing, then I could just go to that and just find a really easy to use interface. But just kind of throwing that, I don't know. not what I'm after. Well, it implies that there is a thing there, but oh well. So we definitely got a series of races for sure. We can go into different races, and I'm assuming there's a bonus at the end of it. Not always the case, but sometimes there is. And after all that, somehow I ran out of time, so I spent some time fiddling with some of the options, but maybe it gives you an idea of how the game plays. So far it's not bad. I'm still obviously trying to figure out the interface. But there's also some things that are intuitive as well, like just going into just finding a race and playing in it. That's pretty straightforward, and you can kind of see the restrictions, that sort of thing, of what's involved in a particular race. So some things are definitely pretty intuitive at this point, which something being intuitive in these Gran Turismo games I always found to be a bit of a problem. And some games it's more pronounced than others. Here, it seems to depend on what you're looking at, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, enough about me yammering away. I wanted to hear from you. What'd you think of this game? For those of you who have played this game, what'd you think of this? Was this a really good entry? Was this what you played a lot on the PlayStation 4? Because I think this is like one of the only games, if not the only Gran Turismo game on the PlayStation 4. Can't remember now, but I think it might be the case. I could be mistaken. Anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Did you think it was a good game, or were you less than thrilled? Maybe there was other games you were interested in playing. Let me know in the comments below. Also, for those of you who have not necessarily played this game, but have played other games in the franchise, what'd you think of what you saw here? Does this look like a very familiar game that you'd totally get into, or maybe you've played too many Gran Turismo games and you're kind of sick and tired of them at this point in time, or maybe you have a different version you prefer playing, and since you already have it, you may as well continue playing it. Yeah, any thoughts below at all? Let me know in the comments below on what your perspective is on that. And for those of you who have never played a Gran Turismo game at all, what are your thoughts on what you saw here? Does this look like kind of an interesting game to you? Something you might be into playing? Or maybe this is not necessarily your style of game. Maybe you don't like simulation racing, you prefer the more arcadey style. Or maybe you prefer other genres entirely and this is not necessarily your thing. Or maybe this is something you've been curious about playing and you want to get into. Any thoughts at all, for sure. Let me know in the comments below. So I guess that is all for now, and until next time, what is your era?